guys, good morning and welcome to Petra. I arrived yesterday around 11 a.m. I went by taxi and not by bus because usually in the past there were buses that went from Wadi Rum to Petra. But because of COVID, obviously they don't have any buses going up and down. And so I had to take the taxi. It took about an hour and 45 minutes. The Airbnb guy came and picked me up and took me to the apartment, which I'm in right now, which I love, by the way. And I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, the best part is that it's got Wi-Fi. And so yesterday I was able to call my mom and then I was able to update my social media. And then after that, what happened? Then I went to dinner and to explore. And I bought some sweets at a sweet shop. They have a couple of those and I love that they're so different. It's obviously sweets from the area. I'm not sure if they're Jordanian or if they're just from the Middle East. And then I brought those home and watched a movie and ate sweets and went to sleep. It was a perfect afternoon, perfect day back to the internet and to what I'm used to, I guess. And then now it is 7:48. I'm all ready to go out to see the actual Petra site. The first thing I did on my way to Petra was stop by another sweet shop to get breakfast. I have a huge sweet tooth, if you haven't noticed already. And from my Airbnb, which I'll link down below if anybody's interested, Petra was a downhill 15-minute walk. At the entrance of the site, there are people offering a horse ride for the initial part of the trail, which is about 5 to 10 minutes, because it's included in the entrance fee. However, keep in mind that these people expect a tip. And I didn't take a ride this time, but the second day I did on the way back. And I paid 5 Jordanian dinar to the guy who took me. And when I told him I was going to pay him that much, he looked at me like it was not enough. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, while walking by foot on the main trail, one of the guys who had initially tried to offer me a horse ride kept following me, trying to convince me to take a guided horseback ride to the high place of sacrifice. It's one of the places in Petra via some secret back way. And since I didn't want to pay, I told him I can't pay for a guide on top of everything else. I told him that I would prefer to go on my own by foot, which he said was doable. So he gave me some instructions at first, but then he decided to come and guide me a little bit. So that's what's happening here. And then he just let me go on my own. And yeah, very bad idea. Wearing my sun protection gear. So far, it's worked. The problem was that while at the beginning of the trail, it was easy to identify where to go, there came a point where everything looked like a trail because there are stairs and man-made paths everywhere in the rocks because people used to live here not long ago and because the locals still hang out and keep the animals up here. So I ended up just wandering around trying to figure out what the path was. Eventually, I found a path that took me to a place where people were, and so I figured that was the right way, and it was. And then somebody there helped guide me to what was the right path. A nice, I think, Jordanian guy just gave me instructions on how to get to the high place. So let's see if I make it by myself. Well, after walking for a while on what I believed was the correct path, I eventually found a way to get lost again. And I actually found myself in quite a situation where I was walking through a trail that had been closed due to it being deemed too dangerous. But of course, I only figured this out a lot later. There's a sign that says this is the way to the high view place. And if this is the high view place, I'm very disappointed because that is the treasury right there. But there's nothing to see from this perspective. So I found myself stuck at the top of these rocks because this is the path that was closed. And a boy who worked down at the treasury had to come up and help me. I actually felt so embarrassed when I got down for being that tourist that does something stupid. But by the end of it, I made a whole lot of Jordanian friends because everybody who worked there, I ended up talking to them and getting to know them. So yeah, that was a really huge plus from this. Oh, and in case you're wondering, like I was, according to the locals, this huge group of tourists was from the US Army. Once I left the treasury to continue exploring, a guy who was trying to get me to go on his donkey ended up suggesting that I go to the high place of sacrifice, the place I was trying to get to before, which I never got to, by taking this path. And I know what you guys are thinking, I'm making the same mistake twice, but I was also worried about that, and this guy who had seen what had happened to me before, he promised that this path was made for people to go on by themselves and that there was going to be no problem and that there were signs on the way. So I decided to trust him, and yeah, it was all good. Seriously, I cannot figure out where the high place of sacrifice is because it's supposed to be round like this. But there's a high place, but it's not round. Oh my gosh, I found it. It was right next to me. Wow. And the views up here are just amazing. Okay, so at this point, I was exhausted. My first trail where I got lost was 2 hours long, and so far I had been on this new trail for about 50 minutes, and I decided to continue on the trail because it's an actual trail on the map, and you can obviously either continue to the end, which takes you to the main trail, or I could have gone back the way I had come, which would have also taken me to the main trail, but it would have taken me to a part that was closer to the entrance, and I didn't want to go there because I had already been there, so I decided to continue on the trail, which ended up taking me another hour in the heat. But the super cool thing about Petra is that wherever you hike, you're going to find man-made things, whether it be ancient structures or modern, still in use little caves. So yeah, no matter how exhausted you are, you will not get bored. Actually people living in the rocks, and they have a road, and there's a car somewhere here. Finally, after over 2 hours of hiking in the heat on the second trail, I arrived at the main road again, and in the shade of this monument you see here, there was a group of guys who called me over for tea, and so I went there and sat there with them, just talked about cultural differences, which is one of my favorite topics. On my way back, I bumped into the same guy who had tried to get me on his donkey earlier and who had suggested that I go up to the high place on that second path, and he offered to take me back to where he had first met me on his donkey. Thank you so much. Yes. Back at the treasury, my plan was to go straight home because I was hungry and tired, but some of the guys who I had met before and who I bumped into again suggested that I stay a bit. And so since I was really hungry, I bought ramen, and yeah, I never thought I'd eat ramen at Petra. And then one of the guys helped me take some amazing photos at the spot. And then the best part happened after that, where a couple brought their son to Petra to celebrate their birthday, and they brought cake. And then all the locals who worked there started singing happy birthday, and then the couple gave the cake to the locals for them to eat, and then the locals gave me a piece of cake as well. So I ended up having birthday cake in Petra on top of the ramen. As soon as I got back to the town, I went for dinner at the same place as the night before, and he recognized me, so he gave me some sweets for dessert on top of the tea he gave me last night. So that was super sweet of him. Finally, I am home, and I don't think I've ever been happier in my life to be home. I literally burnt double the calories that I do when I don't do anything. Such a long day, and tomorrow I have to go back. My ankles hurt. But the problem is that everybody is so nice. They keep talking and they keep making conversation. So then I start answering questions or asking them questions. And by the end of it, I just talk too much, especially as an introvert. It's just been a super exhausting day. I need a lot of alone time now. Honestly, I would like to not go to Petra tomorrow, but I have a 2-day pass and I need to take advantage. Anyways, I am going to check out now for the night and just relax, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. As I said, I have a huge sweet tooth, so I had ice cream for breakfast, and then I was back in Petra even earlier than the day before because this time I was planning to hike up to the monastery, which I was recommended to do before it got too hot. This time I took the main route, and I tried not to stop too much on the way because, like I said, I didn't want it to get too hot. But this is the Roman theater, which according to the little booklet they give you is the largest theater carved straight into rock. On my way, I met this little girl who was trying to sell me rocks, which I didn't buy, of course, but she will make a longer appearance later. Finally, I reached the path that would take me up to the monastery, which would be a 40-minute hike uphill, and all I can say is that it felt a lot longer than that. The good thing about this path, and most of the ones in Petra, was that you knew you were going the right way as long as there were gift shops lined up along the path. And this is one of the few ones where I actually saw gift shops open, probably because it's very popular to go up to the monastery. I made it. At the top, there was a place to buy food and drinks, but I didn't want to use my cash, and they asked for a minimum of 5 Jordanians when using the card, so instead I opted for eating one of the snacks that I had bought that morning. Oh, and I also found a chicken coop all the way up there, right next to the monastery. After a while, I went back, and like I said, I bumped into this little girl again. And after trying to have a conversation with her using Google Translate and then me giving her 2 cookies, she decided to show me around. Oh, and this coin, she found it on the floor and refused to take it no matter how much I said it would be fine, which says a lot about the honesty of people in this place. Inside, that's the But yeah, she took me around and eventually got a hold of my phone and started taking photos of everything she thought was beautiful, which was actually pretty much everything she saw. Wow. You want pictures? Okay. Eventually, I bumped into the donkey guy again, who showed me a shortcut to get to the royal tombs, which was the last place on my list to visit, and the little girl stayed behind, which was where her mom was working. For dinner, I had a super traditional lamb dish, but I ate it wrong because I thought that white soupy thing was soup, but it's not. It's a sauce for the rice. I am all packed and ready to head over to Amman. And I've been so lucky that first of all, the Airbnb has let me stay here until now. It's like 4:30 p.m. and checkout time was 11 a.m. And second of all, on my way back from eating lunch, I bumped into this guy that I met the other day, and we were just talking, and then I told him I have to go to the bus station, and he's like, he'll drive me. So I'm so happy because the walk there is like 15-20 minutes, and I didn't want to do it with all of this. So anyway, heading out. Hopefully everything goes well. Nowadays I don't believe in traveling going well, so we'll see. Finally, I was on my way to Amman, and by bus it was a 3-hour ride with a 20-minute break in the middle at a roadside cafe / tourist shop. The Airbnb guy offered to pick me up, but next time I would use Uber. I didn't realize Amman has Uber and it would have been cheaper, but still he took me to the Airbnb, which was really nice and had breathtaking views. Hey guys, I am just getting ready to head out to see the city. I arrived in Amman last night and I went straight to bed. I was so tired, and this morning I've just taken it super easy. I stayed here. I worked on my video for Egypt because it's taking forever to make. Right now it's uploading, and I don't know whether I should stay because it was like only 15 minutes left. I don't know if I should stay to make sure it goes through. But anyway, now I'm planning to finally head out. It is 3:30 p.m. I feel like I need to see the city a little bit. I was originally thinking maybe I should go to the Dead Sea today, but at the end I just decided it was just too much. I just got here. I only have one day here, and I need to just rest a little bit. It's been too hectic, like between the desert and Petra and everything. I just need to rest. This is why I don't like traveling fast. I need time to breathe, and also I need time to work on stuff. Like, I'm not only on vacation, I'm working on things. So anyway, I'm going to head out now, see the city a little bit, have something to eat, and that's basically gonna be the end of the trip. Amman was a super nice city. The Airbnb guy said that downtown would be a little dirty, but I actually felt like it was quite clean. He also recommended that I go to the sweet place, which was clearly super popular. They sell something called kanafe. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it was super yummy, so yummy that I was craving it the next day, even after only trying it once. Afterwards, I went to the Roman Theater here in Amman, which is included in the Jordan Pass. And by the way, everything I've been to so far is included in the pass. But yeah, it was actually the first time I get to walk freely in a place like this, because back in Spain, they're usually sealed off and protected from tourists. They also had this museum right under the theater, which I only filmed because of how creepy some of the dolls look. Other than that, it was actually really nice to go to a museum with traditions and clothes other than my own culture, since I'm so accustomed to only going to museums for my own culture. And that was pretty much it for the day and for my trip. My flight was the very next day and I didn't film. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. This is the last Jordan video, but I'll see you soon on my next and new adventures.